In India, I can say most of the people they know about Lord Ram. Uh, so today the focus will be not on the pastimes in detail, the different pastimes of Lord Ram, not in detail, but about the focus will be on what lessons we can learn, and in some places we will try to go little. We will briefly discuss about the story aspect also. So focus will be more on what we can learn from that particular pastime, and we can get benefited from that. So I begin. So this is the first lesson we'll be focusing on, that is the power of bad association. So all of you know how Lord Ram has to go to exile to the forest. What all things went before that. So we'll discuss about that. So we see Mother Kaikeyi, one of the wives of Dashrath Maharaj. She was very fond of Lord Ram. She actually loved Lord Ram more than Bharat also. She considered Lord Ram should be her favorite son. And there is also one instance when Lord Ramchandra, he gets married and comes with Sita, Mother Sita, to Ayodhya. So at that time we saw that how Kaikeyi, she just comes out of her palace, which is very famously known as Kanak Bhavan, all made of gold. And she tells Lord Ram and Mother Sita, Sita, this palace is now yours. So that kind of love she had for Sita and Lord Ramachandra. So then what went wrong, because of which, Kaikeyi transpired this exile of Lord Ramachandra with Manthara. So we'll see that. So as all of you know, Manthara, the henchback, maid servant of Kaikeyi, she was always with her. When she came to know that tomorrow Lord Ram is going to be crowned as the princess, as the next king actually of Ayodhya, she completely become disturbed, right? So then she was, thinking of so many plans of how, I can change this whole thing. And she comes to meet Kaikeyi. And she had this conversation, famous conversation with Kaikeyi. She asked Kaikeyi, what happened to you? Have you lost your intelligence? Do you know that tomorrow Ram is going to become the king? And this has been declared all over Ayodhya. People are discussing about that. And Kaikeyi, when she hears, she becomes so happy. She immediately takes out a necklace from her neck and, gives to Manthara as a gift. Then Manthara throws that. And Kaikeyi she's not able to understand why Manthara is behaving like this. Are you not happy, Manthara, with such a good news? She said, what kind of mother are you? Are you not concerned about Bharat? Actually, Bharat should become the king, And Manthara gives different reasons of how, Lord Ram should not become the king and Bharat should become the king. But still, Manthara could not able to convince Kaikeyi. But when Manthara speaks, one last thing that actually changes the heart of Kaikeyi. Manthara says, Kaikeyi, do you know what will happen if Ram becomes the king? If Ram becomes the king, then Kaushalya will become the, the main queen actually. She becomes because she is the mother of Lord Ram. And she will take all the power. She will have all the power. And Maharaj Dashrath will more focus on her, not on you after that. And then when Kaikeyi hears this, then this actually pinches her. Because generally people are envious of those who are on the same level, right? So Kaikeyi, because she is also co-wife, one of the co-wives of Dashrath Maharaj, she immediately, because of the envious nature which is there, she understands, yes, this should not happen. And then, so when you see back, Kaikeyi had so much of love for Lord Ramachandra, Mother Sita, and everyone in fact. But when she hears this message, these words from Manthara, her heart, her mind, her intelligence completely becomes polluted. And she takes the words of Manthara as true. She does not even verify, what she is speaking. She does not even take consultation from others before making any kind of decision on this thing. And she immediately calls uh, Dashrath Maharaj. And then you know what happens right after that. So here, from this small incidents from Ramayana, we can see how, just when we have this kind of people in our association, our minds get polluted when we hear from them. And then we even don't want to seek consultation or good counseling from others. We just get carried away by that. This is what has happened with Mother Kaikeyi here, and then the whole exile thing actually takes place. So we should be very careful enough in associating with what kind of people. It is mentioned we become the average of 5 people with whom we associate the most, right? So we should know those 5 people with whom actually we associate the most, we spend the time most, and we should be careful about that. Otherwise, we will become average of their qualities. So that is what has happened with Kaikeyi here. Because of this bad association with Manthara, she lost her intelligence. She could not able to understand, what she is going to do is wrong. So that is the first lesson we can learn from this pastime, from this incidents. We'll go to the next one. Yeah. Ram or Aram, as they say. Like there is also a saying which says, Aram haram hai. If too much of Aram. And we also hear that story of turtle and the rabbit. Because the rabbit, although he was so fast, he was so energetic, but still, because he took that Aram in between, he lost the race, right? So Aram means, in one sense, it is laziness. Aram is required. Some sleep is always required to maintain the body, but too much of sleep, it leads to laziness. So we see here in this slide how citizens of Ayodhya, they wanted to go with Lord Ramachandra to forest, leaving behind all the comforts of Ayodhya, leaving behind all the Aram facilities of city Ayodhya. So they wanted to go where the Lord is going to reside. That was their first concern. And further, they were ready to even give up their, comfortable life in Ayodhya. So laziness is a biggest obstacle on the path of our both material life as well as spiritual life. So we should be very careful about that. Whether if someone is a student, whether a person is trying to build his body, muscles, whether a person is trying to work nicely in the office, and especially for those who are spiritual seekers, this laziness is the biggest obstacle. So laziness and lack of determination, these are one of the biggest obstacles on the path of spiritual life, as well as in our material life also. We can see, those who work hard, they can actually excel in their professional field, in their student life as well. So giving up of laziness is one of the important aspects, that important qualities that we should develop. And how to do that? So if you are always with the lazy people around you, then you will never actually transform. So it is mentioned we should always try to associate with those who are very enthusiastic, who are not lazy. They are always eager to do things, who are always eager to actually keep themselves busy in life. So when we associate with these kind of people most, then actually we can give up laziness also. Many times we have seen at home also, most of our mothers, they're always busy at home doing something or the other, right? They never get bored, they never feel lazy also. Especially I see about my own mother. She is never lazy, always trying to do something. And that is how we should also keep ourselves busy. Otherwise it is mentioned, an idle mind is devil's workshop, right? So keeping busy, of course, keeping busy in right things is very important. Keeping busy ourselves in right kind of work is very important. Otherwise, there are many people in this world who are very busy. But in what things? In wrong things, in bad things, in maybe most materialistic activities also. Not able to give their time for family, not able to give their time for spirituality. So we should strike a balance between how much time to give to our materialistic life, how much time to give to our spiritual lives. right? So this is very important. So this is what we can see from the citizens of Ayodhya. They were so eager to go with Lord Ram because they know Lord Ram is their life and soul. So this is their priority. So we should also be develop this quality of giving priority to our spiritual lives. Anyways, we are doing our materialistic life is going on, but we should also try to take out sufficient time, quality time for spiritual activities also. We should not be lazy about that. So this is another life lesson we can learn from this incidents of Ayodhya Vasis, how they were so eager to go along with Lord Ramachandra. So we'll go to the next slide. Shall we skip that? So goal is to please the Lord. So like if you see on the slide, for Bharat Maharaj, he was trying hard to get Lord Ramchandra back to Ayodhya, because he came to know after some time, after Lord Ramchandra has left to the forest, he came to know that what all happened with Lord Ram. So then he was very eager to get back Lord Ram back to Ayodhya. So he along with all the three mothers and some of the citizens, ministers, Vashishta Muni, and many personalities, he actually goes to forest to convince Lord Ram and to bring him back to Ayodhya. And there was a big discussion that happens between Lord Ram and Bharat. Bharat is trying to convince how Ram should come back, and Ram is on the other side, he's trying to convince Bharat Maharaj. So based on philosophy and dharma and duty, that how his duty is to go to forest, because that was the instruction given to him by Dashrath Maharaj, and he has to follow that. So as an obedient son, so he was following the order of his instruction of his father. So a long debate happens, and many other citizens also, they also try to convince Lord Ramachandra in various ways. And finally, there was a silence. So nothing could be. Then finally, Janak Maharaj was called to make a decision on what should be done. So then he gives a very interesting conclusion or judgment. He says, so Bharat Maharaj, he says to Lord Ramachandra, Lord Ram, I think Bharat has conquered you by his love. So there is no question about that. So Lord Ram agrees, yes, he has actually purchased me with his love. And then Janak Maharaj turns towards Bharat and says, and my dear Bharat, I hope you love Lord Ram very much. So Bharat Maharaj says, yes, I love him so much. That's why I'm trying to get him back. So then, since you love him the most, you should try to follow what Ram wanted. Because Ram wanted to follow the instructions of the Dashrath Maharaj, I think you should allow him to go to the forest. You should try to do that which is pleasing to the beloved. So in that sense, Bharat also wins and Ram also wins. It was a win-win situation in one sense. So Bharat agrees finally. He has his own opinion of getting back Lord Ram to Ayodhya, because there were many allegations made against him in Ayodhya by so many personalities, including Vashishta also. He was also so disturbed. He also said to Bharat, Bharat, why have you done this? So that was all because of love for Ram, they were speaking like this. But still, Bharat wanted to remove those false allegations which were there against him. So everyone understood the love of Bharat for Lord Ramachandra, and everyone was pacified. And at the same time, even Bharat agreed that Ram should be staying in the forest, and then he agrees. So this is a challenge for many of us. For example, sometimes some guests come to our house, and then we offer them, what do you want? Do you want tea or coffee? Right? So then the guest, they may say, I want to have some tea. But then the host may say, oh, what is there in tea? Maybe I will give you coffee. Coffee is very best. So you try to bring the coffee and force upon our guests sometimes. So in some scenarios, we try to fulfill our own desires. We are not concerned about what the other person wants. If you really want to please the guest that has come, so as per the guest, we should provide him tea. not coffee, right? So similarly in devotional life also, we may be having so many of our own opinions, our own plans in life, and but we should also try to understand what Krishna wants, what spiritual master wants, and we should try to do that in order to please them. The classic example of Arjuna we can see in Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna actually, he gave up his bow and arrow, and he was not ready to fight. He had his own opinion, his own understanding of why he should not be fighting this war. He puts forth all his arguments in front of Krishna. But when Krishna explains him the Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge, the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, then Arjuna understands. Then he goes by the will of the Lord, because he knows by doing this, it will be pleasing to Krishna. So ultimately, devotional life is nothing but pleasing the Lord, pleasing Krishna, pleasing Lord Ramchandra. That is what we can see from this pastime of Bharat. Although he had so many plans, but still when the verdict was made that Lord Ram should be going to the forest, he agreed, because that was pleasing to Lord Ramachandra. So this is a beautiful narration. And we go to the next one. Attachment to service and not to the position. So if you see in the slide, we have two pictures. In one picture, we see Lord Ramachandra going to the forest, taking all the difficulties in the forest, barefoot, and the dress is also made of tree bark, no facilities. And Lord Ram also takes the vow of only eating kandamul, berries, fruits and flowers, that's all. So he takes to the life of hardship, right? And when he comes back after killing Ravana, back to Ayodhya after 14 years of exile, then he was also ready to take up the position in order to serve the citizens of Ayodhya, serve the citizens of the whole world actually. So Lord Ram, he was never attached to going to the forest. He was never attached to becoming the king. He was always attached to actually serving his devotees, to serve the citizens. That was his focus. In contrast to what we see in today's life, especially the politicians, we can see they are very much attached to the position and not to the service of the citizens, of the followers, right? So this is the problem. People become attached to the facilities, attached to the resources that come from the position, and that is the problem, right? So Chanakya Pandit, one example of Chanakya Pandit also comes. So he was the prime minister. He was the prime minister of the king Chandragupta Maurya. So at home, one time he was at home and he was writing something, and there was a lamp that was lighting. And then after his work, he blew off that lamp and he then lit another lamp with very low intensity. And one person who was seeing this, he asked him, why do you have these two different lamps? Then he says, the first lamp is given to me by the government, by the king, and that is for the official work. And as soon as the official work is done, I have to light it off. And the other one, which was used by me with very low intensity, that belongs to me. And I cannot put it on higher intensity, and because I don't have much money, so I have to use it very conservatively. So this is the kind of detachment these ministers they had during the earlier times. They were attached to serving the kingdom. They were attached to serving the citizens, not to the position. Similarly, we see one very beautiful example in our own ISKCON movement. During the time of Srila Prabhupada, there was one wonderful devotee by the name Jayanand Prabhu. In the initial days in ISKCON, he was such an hard-working devotee, always eager to serve. And there were so many devotees who came after him. But still, he always took a very humble position, and he gave them the position of becoming the president, taking different designations, different positions in the temple. But he always remained behind the scene, always trying to serve in a menial way. See, he allowed people to grow, he allowed people to take positions and serve in that manner. But he always remained in the background, trying to serve as a servant. So he was not attached to the position or anything like that. He was attached to the seva, he was attached to service. So this is one beautiful lesson we can learn from the life of Lord Ramachandra, how he was eager to serve the devotees. Hare Krishna. So we'll go to the next lesson. So we see sometimes saintly people also cause pain to others, but it is for what? Let us try to see. Like in the example which is given on the slide, Bharat, after knowing that the whole conspiracy was done by Kaikeyi and Manthara, he was very furious at his own mother Kaikeyi, and then he actually disowned her after that. You are no longer my mother. He spoke very harshly to her, and Prahlad also, if you see in the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu, such a demoniac father actually, and he tried to kill Prahlad in so many ways. And in that case also Prahlad disregards Hiranyakashipu, and he worships Lord Vishnu, Lord Sri Hari. So we may see externally these great devotees disregarding them, disowning them. So that is for what? That is for good for the other people. For example, a doctor may cause pain. He may conduct an operation on the body of a patient, and that is only to cure the patient. It is not to harm the patient. So there is a beautiful story, small story that comes in this regard. One time a person, in order to eat fruits, mango fruits from a mango tree, he started climbing on the tree. And without his knowledge, without being conscious of the fact, he actually went on the top of the tree, trying to pluck, this ripened mangoes. And he never noticed that how far he has come. So then he started, plucking the, mangoes. And later, when the time came to come down, so when he saw, he actually was on the top of the tree, very high. And he became very fearful. So when he saw that he had to, just by seeing that distance, he became fearful. And he was just shouting for help. And many people come and they said, don't worry, don't be fearful. Please come back as you went up in the same manner. Don't see down, try to see up only. Otherwise, you will become more fearful. But still, he could not able to make up his mind. He became very fearful. And finally, a sadhu who was passing by, he saw the whole thing. And he also wanted to help this person. So what this sadhu did, he started hitting stones at this person. To the surprise of all the people who were there, everyone was surprised what this sadhu is doing. This sadhu constantly, he was hitting stones at this person. And this person, he became so furious. Firstly, he was confused also why this sadhu is doing like this. And then with the feeling of vengeance in his heart, let me, give a class to this person. Let me see him when I come down. So then with that vengeance, he actually started with great anger. He was actually started climbing down the tree without his knowledge. And finally he came down. So by the time he came down, the sadhu actually left. And then he realized actually sadhu was trying to help him. So sadhu, he actually, by causing pain to this person, he deviated the mind of this person from the fear to something else. So we never know, why the sadhu has did this to me. So we only come to know after some time. So it was for our benefit only. Similar story comes in Krishna Leela also, when Nalakuver and Manigriva, they were cursed by Narad Muni. So externally, if you see, this is not the job of a sage. And they were not speaking any ill words to Narad Muni also. They were just enjoying in the Mandakini Ganga. So but out of compassion, Narad Muni curses them. And they become the tree in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. And finally they get benefited and they also get freed from the curse by the mercy of Lord Krishna. So only time will reveal why the sadhu has behaved in a certain way that is for the benefit of others. So we should have faith in the words of sadhu. That is the point. So we'll go to the next lesson. Anybody can make a show of greatness. So this is the pastime wherein Shurpanakha, she comes and she gets fascinated by beauty of Lord Ram, and she wanted to stay with Lord Ram, marry him. And so that is the whole episode. So when she comes, generally she changes her form, beautiful lady. But this time she just came like that in front of Lord Ram. She was so lusty. She became so lusty by the beauty of Lord Ram. She forgot to change her form also in this case. But she was trying to make a show that, as she was trying to smile, trying to express some charm through her face, and she was actually trying to put a facade in front of Lord Ramachandra. And no one can escape from Lord Ram, and no one can try to avoid showing their intentions. Lord Ram is a Paramatma, he can see everything. So he understood the intentions of this lady. And maybe this is the first time Lord Ramachandra actually he makes a joke here. This is one of the humorous pastime we can say in whole of Ramayana. So Ramayana contains all the different rasas, all the different relationships. Ramayana has horror, it has violence, it has fight, it has romance, it has sacrifice, so many things. And we can also see this humor aspect from this pastime of Shurpanakha. But Shurpanakha, although she was trying to cover her intentions by putting up a facade in front of Lord Ram, but she could not able to do that. So at the moment when she was provoked, when Lakshman cut her nose and ears, when she was trying to kill Mother Sita, immediately her real nature came out. She became angry. Now she wanted to kill Sita. She also wanted to kill everyone. So was that love she had for Lord Ramachandra? Not at all. It was only lust. It was all revealed here. The facade all went away. So it is mentioned one's greatness is tested by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. So till now she was so nice. She was putting up a charm on her face. She was smiling. She was speaking good words to Lord Ram. But as soon as she was provoked, she could not able to tolerate that. Her real nature came out. So similarly, we can see, especially in today's modern civilization, it is completely based on superficial aspect of life. As we say, adambar, adambar karna, put up a false, face in front of others. So that is what the meaning of Kali Yuga also. Kali Yuga means hypocrisy and quarrel. So people are hypocrites in today's time. It is very difficult to understand who is good, who is bad. Previously, we used to have demons with big horns and big teeth, and we could easily understand that he is a demon. But in Kali Yuga, it is very difficult. The person looks very ordinary person, but externally, but only we will come to know when they are provoked, when they face the provoking situation. The real nature comes out, right? We can also see from the pastime of Kamsa. Kamsa was behaving like a very good brother to Devaki. So, but as soon as he came to know that Devaki's eighth son is going to kill Kamsa, immediately he changed his nature. All his love was all adambar. It was all superficial. And immediately he wanted to kill the very same sister who he was pretending to love. So that is what, we are exposed. We cannot make a show of greatness for a long time, right? In due course of time, people will actually know our real nature. So similarly, devotee is also exposed of his vulnerable situations in front of Maya. When Maya attacks, then actually it is a test by her. Our real thing comes out. Especially in the COVID times, many devotees went through a lot of difficulties in terms of emotional difficulty, financial difficulty, health difficulty, so many various kinds of difficulties. So this is the testing time for a devotee. How much knowledge of scriptures has he really internalized? He has really understood. This is the time to put our knowledge into practice during such testing times. We are actually exposed what exactly our level is when we actually face this kind of difficulties, when we are exposed, when we are put in front of the provoking situations. So this is the quality of a sadhu, to be able to tolerate provoking situations. So this is one lesson we can learn from this pastime of Shurpanaka. We'll go to the next one. Yeah, we'll skip this. Always stand by the right. The famous story of Jatayu, having a fight with Ravana. So we know this story. I will just briefly discuss this story of how Jatayu, the vulture, he sees Ravana actually kidnapping, abducting Mother Sita. He is going on his chariot, which was driven by asses. So when he saw, he understood this is Sita, the daughter-in-law of Dashrath Maharaj. So Jatayu immediately understands. And Jatayu actually being the friend of Dashrath Maharaj, he wanted to protect Mother Sita. So what he does, without any hesitation, he actually comes face to face to Ravana. And Mother Sita clearly tells Jatayu, you are not a match for Ravana. He is very powerful. Please don't fight with him. My proposition is that you just go and inform Lord Ram about this whole thing. That is how you can best help me. But even after hearing these instructions from Mother Sita, Jatayu actually decides to fight Ravana. So what was going on in the mind of Jatayu? He was feeling that if I follow the instructions of Mother Sita, and suppose I go and meet Lord Ramachandra, I tells him the whole thing, what has happened, will he be happy with me? What kind of vulture are you? What kind of devotee are you? Your mother was in danger, and instead of protecting her, you came to inform me. So this is what was happening in the mind of Jatayu. So he was concerned about that. So although Mother Sita was instructing him to not to fight, but still he made the choice to fight with Ravana. He knew that he is going to get defeated. Maybe he is also going to get killed by Ravana. But he decided that let me fight to the end of my life. So there was a fierce battle that happened between them, Jatayu and Ravana. And it was a long fight that has happened. And finally, Ravana, he was more powerful, obviously. And then he cuts the wings of Jatayu. And Jatayu finally falls down, taking the names of Lord Ramachandra. So, before going to the next step of the story, we can see how Jatayu, he chose to serve Lord Ramachandra in this way. Because he knew that is more pleasing to Lord Ramachandra. And this knowledge, this intelligence is actually given by Krishna. What to decide, what to not decide. Sometimes if we come across two different services, which one to choose? So it is very difficult. It is an ethical dilemma, we can say. So in that situations, a devotee is very sincere. Krishna actually helps him, inspires him from within. And he gives him the intelligence by which he can choose what service to be taken up. So that is what has happened with Jatayu. He could make a proper choice of fighting with Ravana, although he lost his life. And externally, if you see from the materialistic point of view, Jatayu was defeated. He became unsuccessful in his attempt to protect Mother Sita. He was a failure in one sense, isn't it? But what happened in the eyes of Lord Ramachandra? He actually won. He may have lost the battle, but he actually won the war. Similarly, in our lives also, we may lose so many battles. We may become unsuccessful in so many of our endeavors in life. That's okay. Most important is, did we become successful in the most important war? That is the war against the Maya. Are we performing devotional service? Are we doing bhakti sincerely? That is more important. And what is the result Jatayu has received? He could able to live his life on the lap of Lord Ram. Now, that is the kind of a destination or benefit which Jatayu got. Although he lost his life, but he got a better life back home, back in the spiritual world. He could able to leave his body on the lap of Lord Rama. And Lord Ram, after he went to exile, he could not able to actually do the final rites of his father Dashrath Maharaj. And now he got a chance. He did the final rites for this vulture, bird, not even human being, a bird, a vulture. Vulture is even worst among all the birds. So he cremated this Jatayu and did all the final rites. He gave the position of a father to Jatayu. That is the kind of benefit which Jatayu received. He might have lost the battle of winning against Ravana, but he actually won the war by pleasing Lord Ramchandra and by going back home to the spiritual world. So he made a choice to stand by the right. That is the choice he made. Hare Krishna. We'll go to the next, maybe the last one. Life lessons for today. Righteousness. So this is the story of Vibhishana trying to take shelter of Lord Ramachandra. So we know how Vibhishan, is one of the brothers of the younger brother of Ravana, and he tried his best to explain Ravana in so many ways that what he has done is wrong. He should actually give back Mother Sita to Lord Ram. Ramchandra is very, very powerful. We have witnessed it so many times. Marich himself has described the power of Lord Ramachandra in so much great detail. But still, Ravana could not able to take these good instructions from Vibhishan. So one time, in the Sabha of Ravana, what kind of discussion was going on? We can imagine what kind of level they were having. So there was a discussion between the ministers and Ravana the king. So Ravana is telling, one of the ministers, he asks Ravana, Ravan, why don't you actually force Mother Sita to enjoy with you? That is the kind of discussion that is happening in the Sabha. And Ravana is also shamelessly telling, actually I wanted to do that, but what can I do? I got a curse. I cannot do that. So this is the discussion that was happening in the Sabha. And Vibhishan, he becomes so disgusted with the whole thing. And he tries for the final time to give good instruction to Ravana. And then Ravana, he became so furious. Are you my brother? Are you my well-wisher? What are you speaking? And see my ministers. They are my real well-wishers. That was the kind of attitude he was having. So then he actually kicks Vibhishan on the back and he rejects him. He abandons him from the king. And that was the situation of Vibhishan. Now he was rejected by Ravan, his own brother. And now he is trying to seek refuge at the lotus feet of Lord Ram. So he was also uncertain whether Lord Ram will accept me, whether his people will accept me. He was not sure about that. But still he made a choice to be on the side of dharma, to be on the side of righteousness. And then he decided and came to the shore of the ocean where all this Lord Ram and his associates were staying. So now he is standing in the air with 4 of his associates, and some of the soldiers of Shugriva, they come to know that Vibhishan has come to take shelter of Lord Ram. Then the message is given to Lord Ramchandra. So Lord Ram is sitting with all his ministers around him, and Lord Ramchandra asked this question to all of them. So the question was, can I give shelter to Vibhishan? So everyone present there, they were trying to give different opinions, and Shugri was telling that we cannot trust this person. जो अपने भाई का नहीं हुआ वो हमारा क्या होगा, right? So he could not become closer to his brother. So what can we expect from him that he is going to help me? Someone said that maybe he's trying to spy on us. After all, he's a demon, he's a Rakshasa. How can we trust him? So everyone, most of them, they reject. And finally, Lord Ramachandra asked Hanumanji, who was sitting quietly. So he asked Hanumanji, what should I do? So then Hanumanji replies, I think you should give shelter to Lord Ramachandra, to Vibhishan. He is a nice person. Just by seeing his face, the expression on his face, we can understand what is his purity, what kind of calmness he has. By his body language, we can understand that he has not come here to harm us. Actually, he has come here to help us. And he also mentions that actually I have met him in Lanka. He was actually taking your names. He was meditating on your names. So he's a nice person. He is actually your devotee, my Lord. I think you should give him shelter. So Lord Ramchandra, he becomes pleased as well as he becomes angry. He expresses these two feelings. So he was pleased to know this opinion of Hanumanji that, I should give him shelter. But then he asked everyone, but that was not my question. My question was, will I be able to give shelter to Vibhishan? All of you were just speaking about Vibhishan only, that he is not good or he is good. No one was actually speaking about whether I can give shelter or not. Did you have that faith that whether I can give shelter to this fellow? So no one was thinking in that lines. So because of that, he became very angry also. So then he says, what to speak of Vibhishan? Even if Ravana comes here and seeks my shelter, I am ready to give shelter to Ravana also. So he recites this, our Valmiki Muni, he recites this beautiful verse. Sakriteva praponnoyas tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadam yetam ratam mama. So he says, I take this vow now. I take this vow that whoever seeks my shelter, whoever says that, Lord, I am yours, I am going to give him protection from all the dangers. Now this is my vow. This is my vrata. So then everyone is astonished by seeing the merciful nature of Lord Ramachandra. And quickly, all of them, they bring Vibhishan in front of Lord Ramachandra. And then Lord Ram is also very pleased. And Vibhishan falls at the feet of Lord Ram. He is very happy. And Lord Ram immediately arranges for the Abhishek of Vibhishan. Even before the demoniac king Ravana gets defeated, he is declaring here that the next king of Lanka will be Vibhishan. So this is the love of the Lord for his servants, for his devotees. He is giving assurance. What kind of assurance is this? Even before the war, he is declaring that you are going to become the next king. Right? For example, when Lord Krishna, he abducts Rukmini Devi from that assembly in front of the temple. So, and then he's taking Rukmini on the chariot. And then Lord Krishna shows her his army. And then indicates to her, see, your army has already come here. So even before she gets married to Krishna, he is declaring that this army is yours. That means everything which belongs to me belongs to you. That is the kind of assurance which the Lord gives to his devotees. So here we can see Lord Ram is even ready to give shelter to Ravana. And after the Abhishek of Vibhishan, one of the assembled Vanaras, he asked this question to Ramachandra. He says, now if now you have already performed this Abhishek, you have now declared that you are going to make Vibhishan as the king of Lanka. What if now Ravana comes and takes shelter of you? Without even a moment's hesitation, Lord Ram says, I will make him king of Ayodhya immediately. And what will happen to Bharat Maharaj? Then Lord Ram says, I will make him the king of Vaikuntha and I will become their servant. This is the mood of Lord Ramchandra. He is always eager to become servant of his devotees. That is what we can see from the pastime of Bali Maharaj and Vaman Dev. Vaman Dev, he declares that I will become your servant, your doorkeeper. Until now, Vaman Dev is actually protecting the doors of Bali Maharaj in Sutala planet. So Lord takes pleasure in becoming servant of his devotees. He is so eager to become the servant of his devotees. This is the attitude of Lord Ram and also devotees in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the highest position is to become servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. In contrast to what is there in this material world, here everyone wants to become the master. No one wants to become servant. But becoming Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Das Das Anudas, this is the highest position a devotee can receive. And it is the most safe position also. And it is very pleasing to Lord Krishna, pleasing to Lord Ramachandra also. Hare Krishna.